Hey guys, what's up? It's MatchPoint here, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you on why site setup is extremely important for winning games in Rainbow Six Siege. Now we will be taking a look at this in detail and looking at advanced site setups. So if you do find this video useful, consider dropping a like on the video. If you do have any questions after watching the video, then I will be going through this topic live over on Mixer in my next stream. And if there are any topics that you would like me to cover next, or if you have a specific topic that you are struggling with and would like me to cover it, well, comment it down below so I know to do them. If you are new around here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video, so let's get on into it. First of all, we're going to be talking about why site setup is extremely important. A good site setup will allow you to be able to initiate those choke points on enemies because of how you've set it up. It will allow you to set up many lines of sight that you can later use on the game, and it'll save you a lot of time and effort because then you won't have to go and set it up in the middle of the game and then the enemy might become known to it. In addition to this, an advanced and good site setup will allow for fluid rotation between the two sites, and not only this, but fluid rotation between other rooms as well. And it should be suiting you and your team on how you are going to be playing that game. And it's crucial it suits you. And most importantly, it's going to be a site setup that you will become accustomed to. It's going to be one that you particularly like and can play well, and you will end up knowing all of the ins and outs. Now that we've discussed why site setup is extremely important for winning more games, we're now going to be moving on to what does a good and advanced site setup look like. Now there is no right or wrong answer to this. A good site setup is going to be one that fits you and your team well. However, there are three main things that are really important to making it work well. First of all, we're going to be starting off with the very basic point, which is going to be rotation holes. Now this is something that is going to structure your setup. It's going to be something that will allow rotation between many places and ultimately should suit you and your team. If you didn't know already, a rotation hole is a hole that can be walked through and is typically made by an impact grenade or a shotgun. The rotation holes should be fitting your roamers well. It should be allowing them to make easy rotation to get the flank on the enemy as well as rotate back into sight. On many maps there are different ways you can go about it. Some teams will like to have a rotation hole here, some teams will like to have a rotation hole there. It's completely down to you and your team. And that is the basis of your site setup. Now, next up we're going to be talking about choke points. A Siege player with a lot of map knowledge will know certain choke points from a site, and if you don't know these and are struggling with your map knowledge, then I have covered a full guide on this. And there will be a card in the top right if you do require that information. Now if you do have good map knowledge, you will typically know a few or all of the choke points that can lead up to the site. Now a choke point is simply a point or area in which you, the defending team, can go ahead and force an enemy into an uncompromised position. These choke points will allow you to pick up more kills and should slow the enemy down, and they are really crucial for your site setup. Now certain parts of your site setup should be filtered around these choke points. You should have certain areas in which you can always rotate back to go ahead and reach that choke point quickly. As well as this, you can also use your team's utility to go ahead and add to that choke point, as it's all part of that site setup. Whether you're placing barbed wire down or a frost mat, it is going to help with the choke point. Now these choke points should be structured out so that they are the ones in which attackers are most likely to come up from. And remember, you don't necessarily have to be holding angles on these choke points. You can hold angles elsewhere, but remember that you are going to need that fluid rotation to get to that choke point quickly and easy. Now the third and final thing that you should be including in your site setup is going to be lines of sight. And now, whilst you can also hold very basic lines of sight, I would definitely recommend you to go ahead and set up many murder holes that you can rotate to if need be. Now these murder holes should actually link into the choke points. They should be holding angles onto the points where attackers are most likely to filter through. And this is actually going to be linking onto our next topic, which is going to be holding an area. Now this is more or less going to be applying to those who play the lurker role or an anchor role. If you are going to be playing one of these roles, then you should be thinking about where you're going to be holding down for your team. Now in this scenario, I am going to be holding down the cash room, and this is because that is a common entry point for players to make their way into the bedroom. Now while this may not be directly on site, you still should be making it the same. You should be setting it up similar, and you should be allowing yourself to pick up easy kills with fluid rotation and murder holes. As you can see, I've set up a murder hole here, and this is going to be really to help me to go ahead and take out the enemy when they push through. As well as this, I have a very easy and fluid rotation back to site if I need to do that. Site setup is absolutely crucial, and it is important setting it up similar even when you're off site. As well as this, it can allow you to pick up more wins in Rainbow Six Siege. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed. If you did, or you found this video useful, then make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more tips and tricks like this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.